Hey, what's up guys? So today I'm going to be showing you how to change your oil in your 350Z, or for any car that matter. Really all is the same at the end of the day. Now right there in the background is my 2006 350Z with about 113,000 miles on it. It's still a baby, but it needs its oil changed. So I'm going to take you through all the steps and everything you need to know on how to do this in about 15 minutes. If you're good. Now if you suck, it might take 30 to 45 minutes. Now if you really suck, it might never get done. I'm just kidding. We're gonna get it done. So without further ado, let's get this video started. Moving on into the garage, we have our oil. We have 0W40, 0 because it's going to be getting colder here in Texas. And we want to have a little bit thinner of an oil on startup. 40 weight because 350Zs love to have a little bit thicker of an oil. They just run better on it. Next is our adjustable filter wrench. Probably not going to need it since I've taken off my oil filter many times before, so it should come off easy this time. OEM oil filter, $4 on the internet. No reason to go with anything else. Coming along here, we got our 10mm socket. This is going to be for the plastics underneath the 350Z. Mine are long gone from the previous owners, so I'm not going to need this, but if you have them, you're going to need it. 14mm socket to get the drain bolt off. Below that, we have our extension. This is going to be so when we're taking off that drain bolt, we don't get oil all over our hands, because that always sucks. 3/8 ratchet. Then we have our regular low profile jack that I got at Harbor Freight. Works great. Drain pan. It's always good to have one of those. And lastly, we have our funnel and rags, along with some boards because my car is low, so we're going to have to jack it up a little bit just to get under it. So now we're just going to pull the emergency brake because we don't want this car rolling. Right here we're going to choke the wheels so the car can't actually move while we're jacking it up. And right here we're letting the car run a little bit. I started it up so that way that oil gets heated up a little bit and it'll be easier to get out of the car. Next we're going to jack up the car. On this jack it has little indentations. We want to make sure they're opposite of the pinch welds so we don't actually damage them. Right here we want to make sure we're extra careful to get that jack aligned center on that pinch weld. Next we're going to have a time lapse of the car being raised up on the board so that way we can get underneath it. Next we're locating the 14mm drain bolt and we're going to put our drain pan underneath that so we don't make a mess on this driveway. And here we're putting the drain bolt back in. You want to first loosen it a bit so that way it catches on the threads and then tighten so that way you don't cross thread the actual threads on the bolt. And here you want to make sure the bolt's tight, but not too tight because you don't want that to seize up. Right here we're just going to loosen that oil filter. Shouldn't be on there too tight. Let's see, there we go. Came off really easy actually. It was a little too loose. And there goes that oil draining into that pan. Always want to make sure that rubber seal comes off with that oil filter. If not, it'll be a bad day because you're going to have oil spewing everywhere once you put the new one. And there it goes, draining into that pan. And here's that oil filter gasket that I was talking about before. You're just going to want to take it off on the new one and put some oil on it so that way it doesn't crack through the heat cycles in the engine. And now we're just getting back underneath the car. We want to clean up that metal matting surface for that oil filter so that way it doesn't leak or anything when we put the new one on. You could see that that old gasket came off with the old oil filter, so we don't have to worry about that either. We got a nice clean surface for this filter to go on. And now we're just going to grab our oil filter. As you can see, that gasket has a lining of oil all on it, so it's going to bond to that metal pretty nicely. Now sometimes you would want to fill these oil filters with a little bit of oil so that way on startup you don't starve the engine of oil for that split second, but because the 350Z has the oil filter on a 180-degree angle like it is there, it's gonna spill out of it anyways, so I chose not to put any oil in it. And right here we just want to make sure that it's on there tight enough. I usually just hand tighten it. That should be all you need. You don't want to go cranking on this with a wrench because then you're probably not going to be able to get it off. And next we're just going to locate the oil filler. That's going to be next to this plastic cover on top of the engine. And next we're going to add the oil into the car. The 350Z takes 5 quarts of oil. Next we're going to lower the car so it's level, so that way we'll get a more accurate reading on that dipstick. And once we have the oil all in the car, we want to just double check to make sure that oil level's in between the low and the high mark. You normally want to get it in the center of that, and as you can see right here, it is. And lastly, we're just going to want to start the car up and make sure that there's no oil leaks underneath it. Check the oil filter, check the drain bolt. After that, after it's run for a good like 3 to 5 minutes, check that dipstick one more time, make sure that the oil didn't drop any, and after that we're all good. So there you have it, folks. That's how you change the oil in your 350Z. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that little notification bell if you liked what you saw today.